Hey everybody, this is Perch, and this is a viewer question, but it's I'm not going to read the entire mail, but I'm going to get to the heart of the question, which is, hey Perch, I see on other channels a lot lately that people are pointing out infant behavior of creators. The creators behave like children, but that's not what I see. What I see is more creators constantly backstabbing each other. I see a very aggressive, very fickle group of people. Yeah, and I'll leave it there because there's some other stuff that gets a little bit more personal, and I'm not entirely sure what the viewer wants what's read or not. So I'll just leave it there because that's the heart of the question, or at least the observation. And I think it's an accurate one. I don't know about infant behavior or not. I think that there's this desire. I think things can go in waves. If you're looking at just Twitter, then I think that there's like we went through the Joss Whedon era where people were being really quippy and trying to do that, and then the hot take era, and we're still in some of those, by the way. Not everyone moves at the same time, but there's this kind of this persona that gets adopted by a bunch of people because that's what's cool. That's what people think that others want to hear, I guess. And so it goes in arcs. You get the hot take kind of persona. You get I call it the Joss Whedon persona. You get like this dumb child persona where people are acting like they're 8. You get like the lecturer persona. I mean, you get these things that people go through. I used to fixate more on that. I would say I used to look more at that and really kind of try and wrap my head around it more. And then it got just tiring because I would see people that I know who I know in real life who don't act like this. And then they would be on social media and they would sound like an 8-year-old throwing a tantrum. It was bizarre to see that kind of change in behavior. And you realize people are kind of writing to the audience they're trying to attract. So I don't take it very seriously. I don't know why people inherently do that. I mentioned before, maybe it's a case of, you're surrounded by other people talking that same way. And so it just kind of seeps into you. When I travel to other countries, I start to take on the accent of the people that I'm around, and usually to embarrassing effects. It's, it's hard because if it's out of your control, if you're doing it without realizing it, then you can sound like a real jerk very quickly. And people think you're mocking their culture. This. I ran into this in Japan pretty aggressively, where and fortunately, I mean, the people I was with, we were friends and everything else, but they just found it hilarious that I sounded like an idiot. But I think that's a lot of what may be going on with that. But the thing that you identified there, which is really where to go into, is if you asked me, what's the behavior that's most common in the comics community or comics professional area? It's that there's a higher than average amount of backstabbing, of very vicious behavior, and to the point that it becomes like a cliche at some point. I mean, put it this way: if you go on to Twitter right now, without mentioning names, if you go on Twitter and you look at who's getting complimented, what writers are getting just over the top praise. Oh my God, this writer is amazing. Oh, everything this writer does is great. I'm going to like this tweet. I'm going to retweet this. This writer is the GOAT. The people saying that, the people posting that, are the exact same people who in emails and DMs and sometimes, on the phone, will just trash these people as being unreadable. This goes on constantly. And it's so much so that I went through this period in like 2018, 2019, where I hated going to conventions and meeting up with people. I found myself meeting up with more retailers and more editors. The editors don't do this as much, at least, or they do it in a different way. But the particularly with the writers, it was exhausting because everyone was just crapping on everyone else. And close friends. And I don't adjust. I don't pivot quick enough to say, hey, okay, we're hanging out with these two people, and these two people are pals and they're complimenting each other. Oh my God, greatest writer. No, you're the greatest writer. No, you're the greatest writer. One of them leaves to go to the bathroom, and the person goes, I'll be honest, I haven't read any of their work because it's just unreadable garbage. Like, I can't do it. Why? I sit here and I'm like, ugh, you don't have to be mean. I don't think creators should be around just crapping on each other and going like, oh, you are unreadable. You don't need to say that. But at the same time, you don't need to go over the top with praise and then turn around and stick the knife in. Why do you do that? And it's all over the place. I don't. There's this compelling thing about comics, and it's not just like the mainstream comic professionals. There's a bunch of people I talk to in email, crowdfunded. They're doing their own thing. Independent writers, independent artists, people on all kinds of scenes, from the mainstream to the CG to the different groups. I'm doing my own mistake. Never mind. As a sidebar, there are more groups of people than just mainstream and CG, and I kind of hate that comics has become like there's two. You got one or the other. And increasingly in the mainstream, if you criticize comics, you're automatically CG. And if you don't criticize comics, you're the mainstream. You're automatically there's more groups than that. There's more than two. We can do more than two. I'm kicking myself now for anyway. There's lots of different people out there. The point is, across the board, I'll have people who will be nice to me in mail, and then I'll turn around and they're crapping on me in various places. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. I don't get when people make poke and make fun of things on this channel, be it the theme song or the audio quality, or right now it's raining hard, so you're probably hearing that. I don't get what's in it for people to do that. And in many cases, the answer I get back is like, "Oh no, we're just teasing." And I'm sure people are, but why? What is the point? Why choose Dick? is I guess the point. I don't know. There's something inherent. This mail kind of triggered this thought because, and man, there's so many people right now who are listening to this going, "Oh, he's talking about me." Probably not. Just almost assuredly not. I promise. I promise. Some of you people who write me with my Gmail account, we have regular conversations. I'm not talking about you. I'm not. I promise. This is more of an industry-wide thing. There's something about comics where there's this constant, almost defensive, knee-jerk reaction to want to tear other people down, or at least mock their success. Yeah, here's just a little observation. A lot of people are out there doing crowdfunded campaigns on Kickstarter, on Indiegogo, on Zoop. And if that campaign is successful, right? If that campaign was funded, whoever did that campaign, I think congratulations are in order. Good job. Good, well done. You had a thing you wanted to do. You went out there, you got it made, you put your stuff together. Well done. Simple. It's easy for me to say that because I think that's success, and I think if you celebrate success, if you give credit where credit is due, then I think it helps. It just creates a better atmosphere. It breeds more success. If Heather Ontos went out there right now and worked with, I don't know, we'll assemble your team of like some kind of anthology that has Mark Waid and Aubrey Sitterson and I don't know, all the people that have been complained about over the last several years on social media. And they went out and they did a Kickstarter, and it successfully funded, got the money it funded. Congratulations is my response. Why am I going to sit here and shit on that? Why? I think that in many ways the industry would be far healthier if more things were successful. Part of the reason why there's this churn and this angst about everything is because there's not enough money in comics, because things aren't succeeding, because you have comics that aren't profitable, because the companies are putting out things that do not sell. And it's creating, a lot of irritation, both from the customers to the retailers to the publishers themselves. There's a lot of efforts here that are not working. So if something works, even if I like or dislike the people involved, my answer is congratulations. The end. I'll say I don't notice this as much with artists. Artists tend to not do this as much. And I mean, case in point, when people were doing a lot of criticism against Greg Land, it's raining very hard now. I apologize for this. It gives something else for people to bitch about. Um, Greg Land was doing the tracing and getting a lot of heat for that. And even during the height of that, very few artists were crapping on him behind the scenes. When you go out with artists, and nobody's like, hey, let's gossip about how crappy Greg Land is. Nobody was really doing that. Artists, I don't know. There isn't as much. I've had dinner with several artists. I think I mentioned I went and had a very nice dinner with Ben Templesmith. You know how much time we spent gossiping about artists? Zero. Frankly, there wasn't. I don't think we were gossiping about anyone. I don't think there was. I don't think there was. It was a very positive dinner. There wasn't negativity in the dinner. There wasn't like, oh, this person sucks. There, none of that. It was very pleasant. And to me, those are the people I want to be around. Absolutely, I want to be around that because what is the good of constantly living in this? We gotta mock other people. It's weird, and then we want to attach much labels to it. Oh, you're punching up, you're punching down. I mean, if you're being a dick, you're just being a dick. It doesn't matter up or down. I think that there is something in comics where I don't know if it's an insecurity. I don't know if, and maybe you guys would know. So in the comments below, help me out here. Why is it that there's so much of this almost immediate negative reaction to success? And case in point, we're seeing some new writers come into the mix. You see the X office filling up with writers. You see the DC office filling up with new writers. And a lot of these writers are getting their first big break, their first, quote unquote big break. They're working on a title. And rather than be proud of them, rather than be supportive of them, we get, fawning tweets in public, and then we get the nastiest crap behind the scenes about how unreadable and unworthy these people are. I don't think I've seen any other business, any other industry where it's so pervasive that people attack each other for the most benign stuff. Why? And over everything. One of the things I don't do a good job with this channel is there's lots of other channels. Every now and then I show up on Wes's channel. I'll show up from time to time various places. And what gets me is that there's a lot of people who now come in and they'll say, "Hey, do you know what somebody said over here? Do you know what somebody said over there? Hey, you need to be careful because this." And it's like, guys, I'm recording videos in the car and then throwing it up on YouTube. Like, whatever kind of orchestrated YouTuber union you're trying to put together, I'm out. I have no interest, none. You can hate everything about this channel as much as you want. You don't have to even do it behind the scenes. Do it in public. Do it wherever you want because it does not matter. There is an entire video that Richard put up months and months ago talking about how I'm not a good artist. Based off of a sketch I did for somebody. What was it? It was a Promised Neverland. I did some kind of sketch of like, what if these characters were adults? I did this. I think I was watching like Ted Lasso or something on TV. I wasn't even paying attention. It wasn't a good drawing. But I'm also not an artist. Bluntly, I'm not. I sketch. I do my things. I'm not. I never have any airs about any of that. There's an entire video made about this. And man, the amount of people came out of the woodwork who were like, "Oh, are you gonna let him get away with that? You need to do a response video. You need to attack." I'm like, but why? And number one, for the record, Richard reached out and said, "Hey, do you mind if I comment on this?" He asked. Now he didn't need to. He can do whatever he wants. I don't care. But what was curious were the same people who are sending me mails going, "Hey, you gotta take a shot back. You gotta let him. If you don't say something nasty in return, that's letting him get away with it." Those same people showed up in the comments of Richard's video going, "Ah, yeah, screw that Perch." Same exact people. So what are you even doing? You just want the world to burn at this point. I don't know why so much of this goes on in comics, but it is frustrating. So to the original question, yeah, I mean, I think different personas come and go. Sometimes people are acting like children. Sometimes they're acting like what they view a 90s gangster to look like. I don't know, but the one common element is a utter lack of support and backstabbing behavior that is way too prevalent in comics. I'm going to cut this video off because it continues to rain harder and harder. I'm sure that noise in the background is annoying as F. So there you go. I don't know why, by the way, I curse throughout the video and then suddenly start censoring myself at the end. I don't know what I'm doing. Parakeet, everyone. Parakeet. Thanks for listening.